and their decision is final, and not even the state Supreme Court can overrule their fact.
So just to start this, we need to request a letter signed by the town attorney.
Yes, and if we do it ideally, we get Bath to sign the same letter. And then we go to the court without controversy, and we don't spend $30,000 fighting about it.
So can you share this letter with Sally and have her review it?
I move that we authorize Christine to request this letter and that we follow the prescribed procedure following that request.
We have a question first.
We don't even need to discuss, I'm just throwing out there the repercussions of landowners, Bath versus West Bath. Is there any repercussions there? Just may want to look into something that way. Somebody owns property in West Bath right now, they may be paying Bath taxes after this is all done.
It's
It's
worse than that.
back down.
You know what I mean? So I mean, just something to look at.
It's
Anyway.
worse than that. A few years ago, I was at a planning board meeting and the person was applying for, to build a garage, but he didn't know whether or not it needs to be applied to West Bath or Bath.
I was present.
Yeah. Yeah. So the sooner we get it
Sure.
settled, the easier I think everybody's going to be.
Well, Mike, let me help you out a little bit. Talk to Ronnie Beals, who Shirley, his father, said the town line. He found paperwork, town line, down Winnigan's, was at Lamont Street.
Yes, that changed in 1856.
I second Madeline's motion, all in favor?
And may I would like to add in some of, if I can find a reference to, that Brenda made a comment on, if I can add that editorial to what you have.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you, Mike.
And if not, will you please just tell them they have to show up at X and X time?
What the hell's going on up in the kitchen?
We have the town administrator's report.
Yes, we have members of the broadband task force here tonight. Suzanne, did you want to talk about recent developments?
I will let them talk about
Let
it.
them talk about it, okay?
Okay, a week ago we heard a report from Consolidated Communications where they were looking at the possibility of putting in fiber broadband into West Bath and discussing possibilities of how to finance it and what kind of deal could be put out. In particular, they discussed the idea of trying to get several towns together, for example, Hartswell, West Bath, maybe Pittsburgh, in that would be a better chance of grabbing some of the sloshing government broadband money that is washing about the countryside. In terms of what they proposed as described, their speeds and costs would be better than Comcast, which plus they would also be competition, and competition generally results in better service and prices. Consolidated is or has bought out Fairpoint, and they have a certain advantage because Fairpoint, which was New England Cal of sorts, owns most of the poles. So when they control the poles, it's a lot easier for them to slap stuff on it, easier than it is for Comcast. From what they propose, they offer, as I say, better speeds and better prices. And speeds primarily it would be upload speeds, but they propose putting fiber to every household, whereas Comcast puts it to a hub and then coax to individual houses from various hubs. What they requested was that West Bath, the town, specify that the town is interested in exploring such a proposal. It's not a commitment to any costs, but by agreeing for Consolidated to pursue this issue, they would produce a package that one could then look over to see what the costs were and what the trade-offs are. So from what we heard, I'd like to recommend, and I think the committee would recommend, that the select people specify that they encourage Consolidated to proceed forward to present us with a proposal and a description of costs as well as the product they propose.
And they needed a letter from the select board to do a study on how many locations. So it's to house and business, how many locations this would be installed at. And they use the current line, and then it's the fiber optics that's taken to the house that creates a substantial speed increase.
David?
Just to let the committee know that in my talks with Consolidated, they know the line, at least running from Berry's Mill, Hill Road, to my house on Hennessy Road. They know those lines are old, they're falling apart. So they know that eventually, whatever happens, they gotta replace a lot of lines in West Bath. So it certainly would be incentive if we can get West Bath to join with Pittsburgh or Bath, whatever. Because they know those lines are bad, they know they're breaking down all the time, and you gotta change them anyhow, so.
And they felt the better chance at the grant was to have more than one town participate in it. So we're looking at, Harpswell's in. If we say we're in, then we've got Harpswell and West
What I'm
Bath.
saying, Susan, is that Consolidated knows their lines are bad, and they've gotta replace them. So that's one of the incentives too, to get this going.
But also, it also takes it almost tripling the speed in some cases.
I realize that, those lines are bad now.
Yeah, their existing lines in West Bath are DSL, copper, maintenance issues, all that, very slow speeds relative to what people want. And the idea is putting in fiber everywhere to the house.
So,
The one thing I would add to Steve's presentation, which hit all the important points, was that if the communities join on the proposal and for the grant, and the grant is provided, then the fiber optic will be run to all of the users, residential and businesses, whether or not they subscribe to the service.
correct.
So the grant would fund all of that.
So everyone would have a level playing field.
So they would string fiber to every residence without
Yes.
being subscribed?
Right, that's right.
Off the, so
Well,
it comes off the.
the government funds that Steve referred to, that's going to be funding the majority of it.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bob Webb, also on the task force committee. And resident.
And Steve.
Yeah.
And Steve. And Steve.
Um,
Please introduce himself.
And they gave an example of Searsport, which they applied for a grant, which was approved, and they're doing a build out now. In that case, more than 50% of the cost was funded through federal funds. And of the remaining funds, only 25% was funded by the town of Searsport. The balance was funded by Fidium, which is a consolidated affiliate that's handling the fiber optics.
And the installation, should you have gone forward, it included not only the fiber optics in your house, but also the modem and equipment in that. So everyone came up to literally a level playing field.
There's a lot of computers over there.
Oh, Comcast is in trouble.
So what do you need from the board tonight?
A letter to move forward the study, there's no financial commitment. It's a letter.
I know that, but I'm wondering what we need to do tonight.
I move that we have Christine submit a letter on behalf of the town, Fidian, to go forward with the study, establishing the number of users within West Bath.
Well, the microphone market would be that a letter to Fidium that the town is interested in having Fidium do the survey so that we can consider a proposal based on the survey about whether West Bath wants to join in a grant application for funding for the building.
Okay, the reference.
So that's an amendment to authorize, to request Fidium to do this survey?
to express
Do the
our
study.
interest in having them.
Well,
do
it
it.
it should go to the parent consolidated.
Consolidated, okay, yeah, we got it.
Okay. Second, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No. That other letter that I handed you is because Steve brought it up during the conversation, and I wanted to make sure you had a copy of that letter.
Thank you.
Steve and I are hopefully gonna meet with Mike Williams on Monday, so we can discuss what happened at the property. Suzanne, if you're around and you'd like to come, I can give you a call.
What time is it?
We don't know yet, but I can let you know.
I will wait, I have some calls, the answer is yes, but I have to say when I can't be there.
Okay, that's
But-
fine.
But I, yes,
Time to be determined.
yes.
Future agenda items and determination of next meeting date. Is there an issue with the next meeting date?
I just want to make sure that you're all on board with July 28th. I think it is because I don't think we really voted on it last time.
And it was at town hall.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Any other future agenda items?
Just that county communications will be at your next meeting.
County communications?
Mike Carter, to talk about the tower. Yes, David.
And we're speaking about the tower. Keep in the back of our minds, we're trying to get a trade-in sheriff's department cruiser for our fire chief, so we should keep that in the back of our minds.
Yes. Absolutely. I'm sure it's on John's mind.
The county is interested in finding a place for another tower, communications tower, 911 in their dispatch. And the town was probably the high and available, and it would help the whole area if we work at a very good deal with the county to improve communication from 911. I think it's worthwhile to explore.
Any public comment?
On behalf of the road committee, do we want to set something for next select board meeting to discuss with the road commissioner everybody's scope? Or do you want us to do that between the road committee and Mr. Reno, the road commissioner, at our next meeting?
I would like to, Steve,
You mentioned the workshop, right?
yeah, I'd really like to do a workshop.
Okay.
Not use a selectmen's meeting and not, well, I'm just concerned I'm giving you guys too many meetings.
Do you want to do a workshop in lieu of your meeting? Or do you
Sure.
want to have your meeting?
Well, I think we need to iron out everybody's scope and where everybody stands in their job description before really we can really continue doing any more meetings. So I think maybe our next road committee meeting will be our workshop.
When is that
If you guys
scheduled
are-
for?
It is Monday, the 18th, at 6 p.m. at the town office.
The 18th, this month?
Yeah.
We're doing a similar thing with the planning board so that we all can be on the same page.
Yep.
It's so hard when I go ask Jeremy, just for example, what kind of gravel do you want me to use, what size stone for something? You say 16, John says 12, and then somebody else says 8. No wonder people get confused. I mean, we all have to be on the same page, so the more we can
Yeah,
make it standardized,
I love it.
better off.
I think that's great.
Are we gonna do that here,
No,
the workshop?
No,
Their meeting is at the town hall. If you
Yes.
think that's enough space?
yeah.
I think it's
For
enough
the,
space.
for the board and
Yeah,
the
I think
members,
so.
I think so.
What time is that?
6.
Any other comments? I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Ladies, good job managing this meeting this evening.
Now we might